Hi friends, I am Jubi George and welcome back to our channel. And in today's video, we are going to solve the previous year question paper, that is 2019 NTA UGC NET EXAM first paper, first shift. We will be discussing the first 5 questions in this video, and on later videos we will be continuing with the video series and we will discuss the entire 50 questions. So stay tuned to our channel and let's solve each of these questions. So the first question is, in the spectrum of teaching methods, which of the following will be called dialogic? Okay, and some of the options are given to you, as well as from these options you have to take 3 of them, and the right options for A part, B part, C part and D part are given, and you have to choose from that. That is the question. And the some of these methods which are given here, the teaching methods given here are demonstration method, the problem solving method, chalk and talk method, team teaching based method, interactive presentation, and finally it's tutorials. So the given question is a teaching method. In the spectrum of teaching method, you have to choose the right option, which will be called as dialogic. Okay. So first of all, if you get a question like this, what you have to do is that you must really have to understand what is dialogic. So let's see dialogic. What is it? Dialogic is it's a teaching. Okay, dialogic teaching involves ongoing talk between teacher and student, and it is not just teacher present. So this means that in dialogic teaching there is an interaction between the part of teacher as well as there is an interaction from the student as well, and it is not a one-way kind of interaction like a radio, but it's two-way kind of interaction between the teacher and the student. Now let's look into these methods given. First one is the demonstration method. Okay, from the term itself, we can understand that in demonstration method, teacher demonstrates different ideas or concepts with the help of some posters or PowerPoint presentation, and it's of course a one-way kind of teaching without any interaction, so it is not the right option. The second one is the problem-solving method. So in problem solving method, what happened is that the children learn by working on problems. Like the teachers give them problems and students have to solve by themselves these problems. So there will be a scope for interaction between the teacher and the student in a problem solving method. Okay, so it is a right option. B is the right option. Okay, then comes chalk and talk method. Of course, from the word itself, you can understand that it's not the right option. It is the traditional kind of teaching that we have seen early days, like a teacher writes using chalk on the board and continuously talks without any interaction between the teacher and the student. So it is not a dialogue. So it does not comes under the dialogic thing. Now comes the next one, team teaching based method. Okay, in team teaching based method, what happens basically is that a group of teachers, they evaluate, they in team teaching, it involves a group of instructors who plans and works to teach students. And it is not necessary that there will be an interaction to the students here in team teaching. And next comes interactive presentation, and of course some of us might have been a part of interactive presentations, and it is crystal clear that it is dialogic with clear interaction of teachers and students, because the presenter or the teacher asks questions, the students have to answer, and there is a scope for dialogism in it. Okay, the final one is the tutorials, and the tutorials has also got the qualities of being dialogic. So now let's look into these options: A, B, and C. Okay, A, B, and C. So out of these, what we have got is problem solving method, interactive presentation, and tutorials. Let's look into those options which provide B, E, and F. And B, E, and F goes with option D, and which is the right answer for this question. This is how you have to analyze each of the question of the paper 1 and paper 2 of NTA UGC NET exam. Now, let's look into the second question. It is, in the post-positivistic approach research, which of the following types of researchers got emphasized? So, the question is on post-positivistic approach, and you are given certain research like experimental research, phenomenal research, ethnographic research, ex post facto research, and finally action research. And out of these researchers, you have to find which are the ones that emphasize the post positivistic approach. So let's see what is post positivistic approach. So post positivistic approach is exactly opposite to the positivism. In positivistic approach, it tends to be more to the scientific side, while in the post-positivistic approach, it tends to believe in the subjectivity of reality. Okay, so what is subjectivity? Subjectivity is the quality of being based on or influenced by personal feelings. So there is a real condition, real situation, and you will have a personal touch to it. So it is the subjectivity of reality. And in post-positivistic research, you tend to believe your research based on how subjective the real situation is. Okay. There was a statement, a funny statement on post-positivism. It goes like this. Post-positivism is like a fisherman who dives into the water to find fish rather than one who stands at the shore to examine a fish. So it's like you move into the reality, you get personal feelings of what you are researching on, and such kind of approach is called as post-positivistic approach. And there was a demerit for the post-positivistic approach that many critics point out is that in post-positivist approach, it tends to be there are some kind of error, and this is mainly used in the social sciences because it has more kind of subjectivity, and rather than while the positivism is exactly for the scientific side, and because of the fallacies involved in the positivism, the post-positivistic approach has developed. And now coming to our answer, of course, the experimental research, okay, which is kind of a scientific research design, is part of the positivist research approach, while it is not part of the post-positivistic approach. Now comes the second one, which is the phenomenological research. Okay, yeah, which is a good option because phenomenological research, it seeks reality from individuals' narratives of their experience and feelings. Yeah, it has kind of subjectivity of the reality. So it's a good option for our answer. And now the next one is ethnographic research. And in ethnographic research, the researchers observe or interact with their studies participants in their real life environment. It kind of like it's also similar to the one that we already discussed, and it also has that a real life situation, and there is some kind of subjectivity possible as like the as in the post positivistic approach. Okay, now let's see the options that have B and C, that is phenomenological research and ethnographic research in it. Okay, from looking into the A, B, C, and D, we can understand that option D can be eliminated because it does not contain B and C, that is phenomenological research and ethnographic research. So we can eliminate option D. Now comes B, C, and A. Okay, so while looking into A, it already has A, B, C, and this A is experimental research, which we have already proved is a wrong option. So let's eliminate that option as well. Now the remaining two one are the option B has the ethnography research, ex post facto research, and finally phenomenological research. While option C has phenomenological research, ethnography research, and finally the action research. Now let's discuss between these two options and analyze between these two options and come to our answer. Yeah, we can look what is ex post facto research and action research. Okay, action research involves real life evaluation, investigation, and analytical research practices and help researchers to develop practical solutions to address problems quickly. In the education system itself, the new education policy is introduced to our education system. And why this has happened? Because of the result of action research, because the researchers were evaluating, investigating, and they were analyzing research practices, and they moves into the real life situations. They engaged with students, they engaged with teachers, and finally they have come with the result that is a new educational policy, which is uh, the latest policy introduced to the educational system. So it's kind of action research that has happened. And now coming to ex post facto research. And post facto research is conducted in content of a phenomenon after it has occurred. Something like, for example, the plane crash of 2020. It has already happened, and now what they're doing is that they're researching like what what were the reason for that. So it's kind of ex post facto research. Okay, so now coming to our question, uh, the post positivism, it goes with, of course, now itself you have guessed, the phenomenal research. Okay, right, which is involved the real life situations, and the ethnographic research, of course, real life situation, and finally action research. Why? Because action research involves practices. They help to develop practical solutions to address problems quickly. Yeah, so there might be some problem or some weakness which has to be tackled, and action research helps in real life situations. So post positivism is there in these, and the right option for our answer is C, which contain option B, phenomenological research, option C, ethnographic research, and option E, action research. Now let's look into the third question. It is like given below are two statements. One is labeled as assertion and the other is labeled as reason. The assertion reason kind of question, and the assertion given here is defining the objectives of the topic of discussion is not necessarily the first step in classroom communication. First of all, when you get an assertion reason question, you have to see if the assertion or the reason given is true or is false, or if the reason is the correct explanation of the assertion. So these are the things. So let's see the assertion. Defining the objectives of the topic of discussion is not necessarily first step in classroom communication. Analyzing the question, analyzing the assertion, you can tell that this option is, or this assertion is false. Why? Because first of all, when a teacher starts to teach, he or she tries to tell the students that we are going to learn this, we are going to learn that for today's lecture. Why? Because the students get an understanding like what are they going to learn. Let's see any book, any chapter, there will be an introduction, like it tells you like these are the important points that you are going to learn, that these are the summary, or little bit of the points are also given at the front, because the students must have to know that what are the things included in it. Oh, in a classroom itself, there must be a scope. There must be a scope that the teacher has to tell the students like what they are going to learn. So the assertion given is false. So we can eliminate those options which tells the assertion is true. Okay. So we can thus eliminate option C, which says A is true, and also A and B, because it says both A and R are true. Of course, we know assertion is wrong here. And now let's see if the reason is false or true. Okay. Anyway, we have to look into that. Clear definitions. The reason is clear definitions of objectives make students understand the topic well. Well, it is a good reason and it is a true reason that students will they understand the topic well once they get a clear definitions of the objectives they are going to learn. So it is a good and it's a true reason. So the right answer is A is false and R is true, and option D is the right answer for the question. Now let's discuss the fourth question. Here a series of number is given and you have to see the odd one out, the wrong number out of this. 3, 13, 43, 53, 63, 83. And the given options are 13, 53, 63 and 83. Okay. First of all, when you get a question like this, like a number series, already we have done videos on number series, and if you haven't checked it out, just check it out. Okay. And first of all, when you get a number series, what you have to do is you have to analyze what is the subtraction or what is the difference between each of the number in the ascending order given here, given in the order. Okay. So 3 and 13, what is the difference? It's 10. Now 13 and 43, what is the difference? It's 30. Now 43 and 53, it's 10. 53 and 63, it's again 10. 63 and 83, it's 20. Now let's see the difference between 3 and 13 is, just write it down as 30, then first one is the difference is 10, then 30, then 10 again, then 10 again, and 20. So what is the wrong number? It should have been gone like the difference between first two number is 10, next is 30, next is 10, and again 10 is repeated here, which is the wrong answer here. Understand? So the wrong number given here is 63, which is option C. Instead, it should have been, the order must have gone like the difference like gone like 10, 30, 10, 20, 10. Instead of it, they have given like 10, 30, 10, 10, 20, which is the wrong answer and it is 63. Yeah. Now let's see the fifth question, which is, it is an inference and a fallacy kind of question. Okay. The inference is like this: a mouse is an animal. Of course, we know. Now, therefore, a large mouse is a large animal is kind of fallacy they have given. And what we have to, they itself agree that it commits a fallacy. A mouse is an animal, and next one given is the large mouse is a large animal. Can anything be like that? A word large is inserted into it and it can be a large animal? Of course, no. So we understand that it's a fallacy. And the question is like that, what kind of fallacy is here? So the options are strawman fallacy, slippery slope fallacy, equivocation fallacy, fallacy of composition. So let's see. Of course, we know the answer kind of is option C, equivocation fallacy, because equivocation fallacy is, it occurs when a key term or phrase in an argument is used in an ambiguous way. Like here the word is large, here the word large is used in a way that we don't really understand, like in an ambiguous way. Like we are not clear why. Is there any logic like a large mouse? Already Sen has given us a mouse is an animal, and if you have inserted a word like key, if you have inserted a word like large, can it make a mouse a big animal or large animal? So it is not clear for us that in what sense the word large is used here. So it is the so it is an example, and so it commits a fallacy which is called as equivocation fallacy. And I've already said in the earlier video that whenever you get an option right, also if you don't know any of the other options, it's better you learn those options as well, because in the coming exams there are possibility that the questions can be asked from such options as well. So let's see what is strawman fallacy. So a strawman fallacy occurs when someone takes another person's argument or point and exaggerates in some kind of extreme way that it is not that it does not seem to be logical to us, to a common man. Okay, for example, if you take an example like a person, first person says like, I think pollution from humans contribute to climate change. Of course, no, we know that. And the second person says, uh, so you think humans are directly responsible for extreme weather like hurricanes? And this is how the okay. So an example for this is if someone has said like, I think pollution from humans contributes to climate change. And in this statement, there is a problem that the person has said, like, it is only the human activity which is responsible for climate change. Of course, no, there are other factors as well which contributes to climate change. So it's not only human pollution, but there are other factors. But if the person has taken this point or this statement from other person and has exaggerated it to a level where we cannot from where we cannot understand what he or she has really meant. So such kind of fallacy is called straw man fallacy. And of course, it is not applicable here. Now comes the second option, which is slippery slope fallacy. So it is an argument like that suggests taking a minor action will lead to a major action. And it's of course a fallacy. Like I'll tell you an example for it is if someone says like, if we allow the children to choose the movie this time, they will make us, they are going to expect to be able to choose a school they want to. If the sentence goes like this, if you let a minor thing, if you let your children to do a minor thing like to choose the film they want to watch for this time, they will make major decisions like they will decide which school they want to go for. Like this is of course a fallacy, and this kind of fallacy is called the slippery slope fallacy, which also does not which is also not apt here. Now the third one, which we have already discussed, and it is the right option, equivocation fallacy. And the last one is the fallacy of composition. So what is fallacy of composition is that it is an error of assuming that what is true of member of group is true for the group as all. For example, uh, if in a concert or in a program, if you see really better, it would be really wrong if you think like everyone stands. Understand, like if you stand and you are at the back of a okay, for example, if you are in a stage program or a concert and you are at the last seat and you just raised up from your seat and you're standing and you're watching it and you can view it perfectly, and what happened if everyone stands like you won't be able to see it. So this kind of, if you are thought like everyone stands you can see better, yes, wrong. kind of statement, and this kind of this kind of error of assuming that what is true of a member of a group is true for the whole group. Like what is true for you to stand good is not always good for you to when everyone stands. Okay, so this kind of fallacy is called fallacy of composition, which is also a wrong option here. So the right option is equivocation fallacy. So with this, we come to the end of today's video on the previous year question paper series. On next video, we will come with the later part of the question paper. So stay tuned and subscribe to our channel. And thank you for watching. Bye bye.